Hey everybody, we're the Video Wizards here. About to do a little BTS video of one of our latest projects where we took basically a sketch and put it through our video processing in order to make something really dope and interactive. Sorry, I can't get everybody. Y'all gotta get buddy to me. Alright. So you got Yachty here, and then who's over here?
Scotty.
Aaron.
And then shout outs to our camera wizard, Evelyn, back there.
Get the light.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there it is.
There she is.
There she is. She's the
Shout
best.
out the whole squad.
Yeah, all the wizards are
All the
here
wizards
today.
are in the building, and only one is dressed to the nines. So we gotta step it up.
Yeah.
Here. We need more wizard hats. Feel free to send us your wizard hats. We'll rotate them
Yeah,
at every event.
absolutely.
Okay. What's up?
Yeah, we're actually preparing for. We're doing, believe it or not, we're doing an assembly at a high school. So we're practicing our presentations. So it's kind of what this is.
Bring it, baby. We can handle a high school. We can handle your worst comments.
Right.
So leave us your worst
brutally
comment
honest.
down below.
Yeah.
Really insult us.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, you want to get into it?
Alright, for sure. So basically we started off with an older project of mine from 2020 called Antidote. And the premise for this was just like, it was vaccine related. We hadn't come out with a vaccine yet, and I mean, I was just kind of like stressing about it. Whatever. There's a million things to stress about at the beginning of a pandemic. But this was kind of like a therapy piece, and honestly, like it was probably done on like a napkin for the first one, and then I just kind of kept working the composition. But you can see like this is pretty much the primitive version of what we're gonna get into. Just set the composition, and then I work primarily in printmaking, like screen print, and then also like a little bit of relief here and there. I've done one relief project, and then I claim that I do it all the time. But so typically what I would do is set this up for screen print, and that's why I kind of already had some digital assets that I was like, alright, let's rock with this one for the project because it's like digitized. But I'm gonna switch over to my setup. I'm working in Photoshop for this first round. Scan the image in. I mean, you can even just get a screenshot of it on your phone and then send it to your computer. Started off with this, and then from here I'm gonna turn off all these layers. Did the draft, and I actually might have done this in Illustrator just to, use the pen tool and get everything sharp. But get the outlines and then start assigning color. So this one's a 4 color, and you can see all the elements here. Set everything to, let's get the focus going real quick. You can't really see it, but set everything to multiply, and that way when the colors overlay we get like a better representation of what they're going to do as a poster print, because very rarely are you going to be working with 100% opaque inks when it comes to screen printing. So it's better to just compensate for the fact that like everything is going to be a little bit translucent, a little bit transparent, a little bit that's the only trans word I can come up with, those two. So this is the final draft, and then after taking it through the screen printing process, which is just like assigning each one to a screen, or basically like an oversized stencil, then we come up with this little number, which you can't really see. Actually, you can see pretty well. So this is the final screen print. I think I did an edition of like 50. And so that was 2020. All right, so we're hopping back into this file like 3 years later in order to create something that's a little bit more dynamic, something that can be like more like generative art, something that's just going to be able to like punch and play in real time. So cool, we got this. First thing I was thinking of doing was like, what if I just isolate each one of these elements, each one of like the flasks and then the I don't even know what these are called. We'll just call them graduated cylinder. We got the Bunsen, I don't know. These are all just like random cylinders that I was like, this works. But what's cool about this design, and well, what makes it work for what we're doing is like, I don't know a whole lot about 3D rendering, so I needed something that was going to be like the least learning curve, so I'm not going to like put in flowers in here or like something really organic looking. All these are like really easy to reinterpret through a program like Blender, which is just open source 3D modeling software. So yeah, like, I mean, it still took me hours to figure this stuff out, but like comparatively to something more organic, this is a pretty good setup for a design to process. And then like also, this is my workstation. This is like 2012 MacBook Pro, so you can't really do a whole lot of like high poly renders on this thing. Everything is low poly, which just means that there's not a lot of polygons making each one of these shapes. And then also this is going to help with our file size when we're sharing it between each one of us. Basically, the less that each one of us can do in terms of like like overrunning our hard drive or like adding a lot of detail or adding a lot of color, we have to keep in mind that this is going to multiple different phases. So if I was to go too crazy on this and make it like a lot of colors, a lot of movement, then it just becomes a little bit more like there's less room for Aaron and Scotty to do what they're doing in their phases. So we all have to kind of play our part and make sure that whatever composition we're working with is like going to be able to get multiple layers on top of it. Okay, so this is the rough, or this is we'll just call this I don't know the lingo. We're just gonna call this like shape mode, and then if I go up here, there's a few different modes. This is like our texture mode, sure, and then this is our final render mode. And it's kind of like, it's pretty bright. I wonder if we can turn down the, yeah, there we go. That's a little bit better. So there's no like lighting on this. All of the, like, basically I set the antidote, which is inside of it, to, what do you call it, emission, and that just means that it's emitting light instead of reflecting light. That's going to really help with your processing time, because if everything is having like multiple lights reflecting off of it, you're going to need a pretty strong, what do you call it?
Most of it happens on the CPU, doesn't it?
Computer?
Sure, yeah. CPU, bandwidth, what's the other one? RAM. You might need to update your RAM.
Upgrade your email.
Yeah, you need a Gmail for most of these. You're going to want to have a lot of stickers on your laptop to make it faster. Okay, so then from there, I like made all the, all the elements into three-dimensional shapes, and then what's cool about, well, I mean, most 3D programs do this, but this one's free. So what's cool about Blender is you can also set keyframes to animate. So settle a few keyframes, just set it to rotate around 360 degrees, and look at that, isn't that crazy? I didn't even barely do anything. Most of the animations I do are frame by frame and they take forever. This took forever, but it looks cooler. And look at it, it's like glistening. I mean, what more could you want from me? Okay, so that's cool, and then from there, then you get into how you want to output it. So, like I was saying, you want to keep everything like a reasonable size, right? So I chose to output everything as a GIF. Aaron over here, like with Touch Designer, he can take all kinds of movie files, some that I can't even open on my computer. So basically, you just want to pick an output that's going to work for both of your setups. So I chose GIF. I also wanted to put them on Giphy so we could put them on Instagram, but my account didn't get approved, so whatever. We're going to try again. These are all the individual, scientific glass devices. There's one, there's another. And what's cool about when you do a low poly, like, you kind of can't predict, just like the artistic exaggerations, or just like the stylization of everything. So I definitely appreciate that, because some of these don't even look like they're rotating to me. They just look like they're going back and forth, back and forth. So it's nice when they create an optical illusion because of the lack of detail. So the last one, this is the last one. I don't think we use this one, but it's just like a fun little render for the internets. Okay, so that's pretty much all that I did, and then from there I just, closed my eyes and gave the files to Aaron to see what he could do with it. So he's gonna take over right now.
Howdy. So yeah, I take all his GIFs into a program called Touch Designer that we're going to look at right now, and which is controlling that which is outputting directly to that screen that you may be staring at right now, which is why we got this little feedback going on here. But so Touch Designer, and we'll go into it right now, is a real-time graphics software, right? And it's node-based, so like it's been called a visual programming language before, but like the idea is that you have these little building blocks, and they each do something, and you can build things out of them. You connect them together. You adjust the settings that's how you make things in this, right? And so you can do like animation and stuff. You can do a lot of things. So this one right here, that's just outputting to the screen. So like one of the nodes is a video input, and that's just coming from the webcam there. The other one is the screen grab, which is just screen capture. And then the third one is what Scotty's over there playing with right now, which you'll see more about later. And each of these inputs just go into like a switch, and the switch I connected to like a keyboard to just control which one is switched to, right? So if you take that, those simple building blocks, you can build like more complex things, right? So we took Yachty's GIFs in, right? These are all his GIFs, and composed them, right? And this is just a simple composition. I have a MIDI controller that I don't have with me right now, but like I have some other compositions set up that we can switch between with the MIDI controller, which is fun. But like a real simple thing we can do right now is like change the scale of the glass, right? And it probably looks like they're being like super laggy and jittery, but actually what that is because this right now is audio reactive. So that's one of my favorite things about Touch Designer is the ability to add in the audio reactivity, right? So you have your audio come in here from a file, and then this little node that pulls the levels out of it, right? It gives you a high, a mid, and a low. And you can see that right here. And just converts them to a number, right, that you can use to control things. And then do some math on it. Just to here, I think I'm mainly converting it, mainly putting it, like between 0 and 3 or wherever I want it. And then you use that to control like settings in the nodes. So one that's pretty obvious to see here is the speed. The speed is controlled by the low, I believe, in the audio. So when there's no low, they're not rotating. But when it picks up, they'll rotate faster. And then secondarily on this one, I believe, we're adjusting the colors. And see, the song is paused right now, and nothing's changing, but the colors are remapping based on the, or are being adjusted based on the high, the mid, and the low, right? So that's kind of why they kind of dance with it. But to me, I think this is all pretty boring on its own. At least this network is, right? So that's why we send it to Scotty, our hardware guy, and he does all kinds of cool stuff with it.
Hi, I'm Scotty. I'm the hardware guy. This is some hardware. What I like to do is take Aaron's hard work and I put it onto my hardware. But what I'm gonna show you a little bit about it. May I hand this back to you, sir?
Got you.
So I'm gonna talk a little bit about the hardware before we get into the what this is actually for. So this is called a video mixer. This is called the Roland Eddie-Roll V8. There's a bazillion other video mixers made. Oh yeah, look at that.
Look at those knobs, so smooth.
Can do this.
Levers,
Pretty cool.
pads,
Oh,
it's got
yeah.
it all.
It's unbelievable.
It's even got a readout.
Yeah, 92. So anyway, this is a video mixer. This one was specifically created for raves in 2007. No one really goes to raves, so instead it actually got really popular with churches. And I think I bought this one online from some church that was upgrading or something, I don't know. So anyway, I've got that. Another thing I have is this video processor right here. Ooh, video processing. And I bet you're wondering what I do with that. So I actually have what's called an internal feedback loop where I'm going to grab this. So we've got an output that is split a bazillion times, but one of those outputs goes into this video processor and then comes back into the mixer. And what that is called an internal feedback loop with processing. And so an internal feedback loop is basically, a feedback loop is actually when there is an output going back into an input in a system. You find that in fractals, in sound. If you've ever had a microphone get too close to a speaker, like an event or something, that high-pitched whine, that scream that like hurts your ears, that's a feedback loop. But we like useful feedback loops in this. So what we have right now is a feedback loop of just basically blank video being processed. It's adding color. It's allowing me to change the hue rotation, so I'm changing the hue right now. There's all kinds of different effects that can be created with feedback loops. So this is the feedback loop. It's basically abstract nonsense, but something else that's really fun is I also have a video feedback loop. A video feedback loop is when you have a video camera pointed at a screen that it's connected to. So as you can see, there is this feedback loop happening right here. If I zoom in a little bit, we can kind of see, you see how there's an echo of my hand when I move my hand in front of the video? That's the feedback loop interacting with itself. It's basically taking a picture, putting it through the system, connecting it to the TV, taking a picture of the TV, and doing that about 30 times a second. So we're seeing this is what a video feedback loop is.
Yeah.
Camera feedback loop, excuse me, that's what I mean to say. Camera feedback loop. But anyway, so you get your camera feedback loop. That's pretty fun. You can combine it with your internal feedback loop, and you can do kind of fun things where they interact with each other, stuff like that. But what I really like to do is process my camera feedback loop with my video mixer. So I'm going to plug that in, and so now I have my camera connected. You see the TV. We zoom in, but this is where we get some really beautiful rainbows. I can put my hand in front, and that's where we get these crazy echoing, ravey kind of things. And this is where I can really push the imagery into really fun, abstract, interesting designs and stuff like that. But it's not there yet. It's not audio reactive. It's not really doing it much of anything. And so the thing that I like to do to push it is I like to take Aaron's audio reactive imagery, and that's where we are now getting this audio reactive image that you're seeing. So if Aaron plays a little bit of music, there we go. And so what you're seeing right now is they have the brightness and some other elements mixed or cued in with the audio. So the audio is affecting this image in these different ways. It's making the animation play, and so it allows me to create an actually audio reactive video with footage that I couldn't normally do that with. And that's really the power of the three of us working together, is now we get these really wild images that like go into these strange spaces, lots of strange geometric stuff, and it's all from the power of teamwork and wizardry. So yeah, now if this is where in the presentation we would open it up to questions.
But if you have them, put them in the comments, and what do YouTubers say?
Like, subscribe.
And
the bell.
Yeah.
Ring that bell.
Hit that.
Tap that bell.
Yeah, smash that motherfucking bell.
Like button.
Yeah, like button.
Share us to all your MySpace friends.
Yeah.
Email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try texting your grandma. Who gives a shit? But yeah. So yeah, now we would jam out for a little bit.
We'll probably post that. We'll post the jam session.
Yeah.
Set to Playboy Cardi.
Yeah.
I think it's. I think we're done, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Goodbye.
Bye.